And sometimes if we find one, we'll shake it to see what's inside. Who else wakes their family up super early so they can open Christmas presents? On Christmas Eve, you and your siblings stay up super late to try and catch Santa Claus. And who else watches a ton of Christmas movies? My favorite is Elf. Now comment what yours is. Here are 4. The Simpsons predicted 2020. It all started when they predicted Kobe Bryant's helicopter crash. In an episode in 2013, Kobe Bryant's helicopter crashed into an apartment building, killing him. Then they predicted the coronavirus. In an episode aired in 1993, Chinese warehouse workers coughed in a box and then sent it to the US. When the virus got to the US, it spread everywhere just like COVID-19. The people then began rioting, demanding a cure for the virus. Then they predicted the murder hornets, which appeared in the same episode as the coronavirus. In this episode, killer bees came from overseas and wreaked havoc on people. And the murder hornets came from overseas and did the exact same thing. Then they predicted the riots for justice. In this episode, people revolted by looting stores and burning down buildings, including the police station, which actually happened in Minnesota. And remember those monoliths that have been appearing all around the world? Well, in a 2001 episode, The Simpsons actually predicted the same thing. The Simpsons...
You eat a pineapple, just know it's actually eating the back. You know how your mouth always feels tickly and itchy after you eat it? That's because pineapple contains a special enzyme called bromelain, which has a taste for human flesh. Its only job is to digest protein. And since your body is made up of proteins, the pineapple you eat is trying to digest you, starting with the roof of your mouth and your tongue. But don't worry, once you swallow the pineapple, the acids in your stomach will destroy the enzyme. These two teens snuck into a military base, but you won't believe what they find inside. And
here are 4 things we all did as kids. Admit it, we all tried pushing down the same color at the exact same time. Who remembers using these exact same blocks in math class? Who else thought they were the coolest kid when they had the shortest pencil in the class? And who remembers diving to the bottom of the pool to get these rings? I'm gonna ruin your childhood. In the TV show Tom and Jerry, Tom loved Toodles with all of his heart, but he lost the love of his life to a cat with more money. Tom even signed his own life away for her, but she ended up marrying a different cat. Tom was heartbroken, so he fell into a deep depression and started drinking milk to ease his pain. He then sat on the train tracks and waited for a train to end his life. I'm sorry, guys.
you were today years old when you found these out. You know those tags that are on all the loaves of bread you buy?
The Most Evil Kids Ever, Part 2. This is 16-year-old Brenda Spencer, and she hated Mondays so much that she decided to attack her old elementary school. In 1979, Brenda got a hold of her family gun and headed straight to her old elementary school. Brenda then snuck in through the yard and aimed down her victim. The young girl fired several shots, killing her principal, custodian, and injuring many others. When the police arrived, they asked her why she did it, but she just said she hates Mondays. It's been 41 years since the attack, and Brenda still remains in prison.
You do not want to die. There's an ancient torture method called rats in a bucket. The victim is strapped to a table with a bucket full of rats on his stomach. A hot charcoal is then placed on top of the bucket, and with nowhere else to go, the rats are forced to dig downwards right through the victim's body. This torture method is called scaphism, where a person is strapped to a boat and covered in a peanut butter-like substance before being sent down a river. This causes flies and other insects to eat at your flesh until there's nothing left but bone. In medieval Europe, anyone who went against the king would be cooked alive. Then they would eat your cooked body afterwards.
This girl felt a strange itch inside her nose, but you won't believe what the doctors pulled out. Sylvia was a 17-year-old girl who was awoken in the middle of the night.
Here's what actually happens when you have a baby. First, the man will release millions of sperm in hopes that one of them reaches the egg. Once the egg is fertilized, it will attach itself to the inside of the woman, and that's when the process will begin. In the first 2 to 4 weeks, the heart will begin to grow and little stubs will form exactly where the arms and legs will be. In weeks 5 to 12, the embryo will begin looking more like a human, which we call fetus. In this stage, the heart begins to beat and the baby will grow arms and legs. In weeks weeks 12 to 20, the baby will develop bones and hair and be able to move around in the woman's stomach. In weeks 20 to 32, the baby will be able to breathe, taste, and it'll even take its first poo. Then it'll come out any day to have its first look at the real world. If you want to see this for yourself, I found this app where you can grow your own baby. Links in my bio if you want to try too.
Here are 4 things we all did as kids. Admit it, we all unraveled the design of the world's worst pencil. Who else poured glue on their hands and then waited for it to dry so they could peel it off? We all remember running our fingers along these exact same lines in school. And who else pretended they were smoking when it was cold outside?